Welcome to Breaking the Silence, the podcast where real conversations meet real healing. We're your hosts, Raynea and Kelli, two women who know what it's like to walk through loss, face hard truths, and come out stronger on the other side. Together, we're breaking down walls, sharing stories, and talking openly about everything from grief and healing to love, faith, and relationships. This is a safe space for laughter, honesty, and those Me Too moments that remind us we're not alone. So grab a cup of coffee, pull up a chair, and let's journey through life together. Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome to Breaking the Silence. I'm Raynea.
And I'm Kelli.
And this episode, or even this month, first of all, we've been talking about grief and how it reshapes attachment, how it shows up in parenting. And today we're stepping into something that feels really tender, maybe even what you'd consider sort of like hard to talk about, but it's necessary. And that is what happens to your faith when God doesn't answer the way you prayed.
Yeah, that's, I think, a question a lot of people feel, but don't always say out loud.
Yes, exactly. Because I think we're allowed to say that we're grieving, but admitting that we've wrestled with God, for some people that feels heavier, you know?
Or guilty.
Yeah, like we should just be not even questioned, you
Right.
know? And so I know someone that said she never wrestled with the why. And I told her, I said, you're a better person than me then, because I did. So anyways, I want to be like really honest about something. After loss, prayer wasn't the same. You know, after I lost Bryant, prayer wasn't the same for a while afterwards. And it wasn't that I stopped believing God was good. That was never the case. I still believed he was good, but I wrestled. Like, I wrestled, why be? You know, like he had already been through so much. Like he, for anybody that doesn't know, we adopted him, and he had already spent the first 2 weeks of his life in the hospital, and had a very rough first 2 weeks of his life. So I was like, why? Like, he's already been through enough, you know, at least that, you know, how I felt,
You're right.
of course. And I questioned with, why not more time? Like they told us, even once we found the diagnosis and came to grips with that, they told us like, we would have like, typically they live till they're like, what, 6 or 7, I believe, somewhere around there, like 6 years old. And I knew someone else that their kid was 10 and still alive. And so I'm thinking, we've got time.
Right.
Well, Bryant passed at like 3.5. So I wrestled the why of that. And why not healing, you know?
Right.
Why not healing earth side? I wrestled with why not the miracle that we were praying for, you know? Why not getting into Duke? Why not getting the transplant? Why not, you know, all the whys. And that wrestling did not mean that my faith was gone. Not at all. It meant my heart was trying to reconcile pain with goodness. You know, it's like, how I just talked about here recently, like you can hold gratitude in one hand and grief, and they can live, they can coexist next to each other. So you can also try and reconcile the pain of the loss and still the goodness of God. The pain doesn't change the goodness, you know? Your brain is just, your nervous system is just trying to make sense of it all. So Because even when Dave was in the hospital, I prayed one specific prayer over and over. I prayed that God would bring him home. And I believed it. Like, I declared it. I asked boldly. Like, I believed with everything in me that Dave was going to come home. And here I think is the hard part, maybe for people to hear, like, he did come home. It's just not the home that I meant. He came home to heaven. And that's holy. I mean, that's beautiful. But it still hurt. It hurt here for us, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I think, like I said, if we like kind of question God, and I'll speak for myself, I feel a sense of guilt about that. But it just, as we do these podcasts, it seems like so many like epiphanies kind of come to my mind, because I'm thinking, he understands. He knows. He also knows that we are going to go through trials and tribulations. So even if we have this wavering doubt or even being mad at him, just like friendships or relationships, we understand that because we're not perfect. Well, God is perfect, but things are going to happen that we maybe would know somebody's going to be mad at us, but we understand. Does that make sense? But anyway, the tension is real.
Well, think about that. Yeah, like, absolutely. Like, say your kids want to go to a party or something, I don't know, whatever it is, and you say no. You know they're going to be angry with you. And that's okay that they're angry. I tell my kids all the time, it's okay that you're angry with me. I understand that. But I have their best interests at heart. So even though I'm still going to say no, because I love you enough that I know whatever they're asking to do is not the best thing for them. Or so I can see more than they can see, right? As the adult and as the parent.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same way. Like, well, God is saying, I know you're angry. I know you want the story to be a different way. I know what you prayed for. And he did answer prayer. And like, yeah, it wasn't exactly what I meant. And I said, from now on, I'm going to be so specific. Not, I want him healed here on earth, Lord. But he, just like how I can see more of the picture for my kids than they can see, because they're so narrow focused on what they want, right? We are the same way.
Right.
Like, we see this part of our story. God sees the whole entire tapestry.
Right.
Like, he gets to zoom out because he's God. He can zoom out and see it all. Big picture, way more than we could ever possibly see.
Right.
Because we can't see how all these things that are interwoven.
I know what you meant.
You just went along. Yeah. Okay. Oh, gotcha. Like, we can't see how this string here connects way down there, but he does.
Right.
So, anyways,
absolutely.
But you can, so yes, there is the tension there. And you can believe in God's sovereignty and still ache deeply over his timing, or even over what his decision was, You can trust his heart and still not understand his plan. There's a verse, it's Isaiah 55, 8-9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. And honestly, I used to love that verse when it felt comforting, just to know, like, his thoughts are so much bigger than mine. Like, I can't even begin to comprehend. But after loss, it can feel sort of confronting, you know? Like, his ways are higher, but they're also harder. And he never told us, like, this was going to be an easy road, you know?
Right.
And even though it's harder, Psalms 34:18 says, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted, not close to the ones who understand, close to the brokenhearted.
Mm. And I believe that so much. I mean, I feel that.
Like, yes, he is
Right.
near. And I knew that was true.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I clung to in the darkest days. Even with wrestling, I still clung to the fact he was near to the brokenhearted.
Mm-hmm.
And even when, honestly, I didn't have words to pray because there was times that it was so dark and you don't even know what to pray, you know? Um, even when all I could do was cry, Romans 8:26 says that the Spirit intercedes for us. And we talked about this, I believe, last week, that he intercedes with us with groanings too deep for words. And there were nights when all I had were groans, you know? There were no polished prayers, no like strong declarations. It was just tears. It was sobbing in my pillow at night. It was crying in the shower when you have no words to say. And he still heard me, and he was still close. And when prayers aren't answered the way we hoped, faith doesn't disappear, it stretches.
Mm-hmm. And that stretching part, I don't think people expect that.
No, they definitely don't. I know I didn't, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where grief and attachment theory intersect with faith. When you've prayed desperate prayers before and the outcome wasn't what you hoped, your nervous system remembers that. So if you tend toward anxious attachment, you might cling tighter, pray harder, strive more, you know, try to do everything right. Um, and if you lean avoidant or fearful avoidant, you might pull back. Not because you don't love God, but because your heart is protecting itself. And that's not weak faith. That's a trauma response. And trauma responses need compassion, not shame. Secure attachment, even with God, is built slowly through honest prayers, through saying things like, I don't understand, but I'm still here. Through surrender that doesn't deny grief, sometimes faith after loss isn't loud. It's quiet. It's choosing to stay when you have questions.
So just like a parent, God being our Heavenly Father, they say what breaks our heart breaks his heart.
Oh, absolutely. He grieves right along with
Mm-hmm.
us. And I think one thing that sort of comforted me was the fact that he endured what I endured.
Mm-hmm.
He sent his only son on our behalf, right? Like,
Right.
he had to grieve sending his son and letting his son take our place
Mm.
for what we deserved. Like, so I think that was something that was really comforting for me. So, and, maybe not right in the very beginning, because, right in the very beginning, you're just so deep in your own grief.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was comforting later on for me to know he knew the pain too. And he knew my pain. His heart breaks for what breaks ours.
Right.
And, but he's a loving father too. And like,
Mm-hmm.
so even when we see our kids hurting, and it doesn't mean we don't love them. It means we love them enough.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
anyways, if there's one thread woven through this whole month, it's this. And I'm hoping that and praying that our listeners hear this. You're not broken. You're grieving. So you're not broken in your relationships, not in your parenting, and not in your faith. Grief is not proof that something is wrong with you. It's proof that you loved deeply. In love, even when it costs us, it's still such a beautiful thing. And if your prayers didn't get the ending you hoped for, if heaven feels closer than earth right now, and I sort of want to pause there for a minute to make sure that that makes sense, because maybe, like, I think after you have lost someone like that, like, you almost feel like everything that's the world's still going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you almost feel like you're just existing in this world, even
Mm-hmm.
in it. Like it's just moving around you, but you're not in it. You're not really connected with it, Like you are more connected right now with heaven and eternity. And I've said for years now, for 7 years, you live like you live with one foot in heaven and one foot here on earth. This, because like part of you is there and part of you is here with your loved ones. But I think right after, like, you are so like you're just existing in this world here and way more connected with heaven and eternity and what you're longing for there, So you're in that place, and if faith feels quieter than it used to, hear me. He is still good. He is still near, and you are still held.
Mm-hmm. And that is a powerful, wonderful place to land.
It is. And if all you can do right now is stay, stay. That's faith too. Thank you so much for walking through March with us. Until next time, we send you off with so much love. Thank you for spending time with us on Breaking the Silence. We hope today's conversation brought you comfort, hope, and maybe even a little laughter. Because healing doesn't have to happen alone. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who might need it too. And be sure to subscribe so that you do not miss a moment with Kelli and I. Until next time, remember, you're not alone, and there's always space for you here.